I have a weird name. Maha. Okay. Sorry. M-A-H-A. It's a blur. And it means dude. Okay, in Sanskrit, in another language. So, because my background is Buddhist priest. Okay. And when we become a Buddhist priest, we're given another name. And my name is like 5 feet long, so we just take the first few letters and it means big guy or dude, okay? And that's why they gave it to me. So, so my background is to be a Buddhist priest, but what does it really matter anyway? Okay? I could be the best shrink or the best therapist or the philosopher. I could be a New Age hippie. I could be, enlightened in various ways. Doesn't really matter, okay? My credibility means nothing. Because I could be also the best bullshitter in the world. And that doesn't matter. So I start the day usually by saying, please don't trust me. You never know. And of course, don't doubt me, because you never know. If you doubt what I say, you're just going to block it off. It's okay. But if you believe everything I say, it's like believing any New Age book or new therapist book or whatever. It doesn't matter. What matters is your experience in life. For example, if you put a child on a bike for your child, and you explain to the child with intellectual good reasoning the importance to stay in balance on the bike. The child did not get the experience in his body. What happens? Why should I stay in balance on my bike? Just throw the child down the road. Well, no, you don't throw it. Just push it gently, becomes autonomous, and after a few feet, it just goes boom on the ground and he's hurt. Okay? Now, after he gets his courage back, he wants to do like the grown-ups, and the child tries again. Now you could explain to the child the importance to throw himself on the ground again, and he won't do it. Because the first time it hurt. So, experience in life is what is most important. If you didn't have an experience, it means nothing. Okay, like the child on the bike. You can explain to the child to stay in balance or then not to be in balance, it doesn't matter. Once he got the experience of it hurts if I don't stay in balance, now the entire body, the entire nervous system tries to implicate itself to stay in balance. I'll take another example. You have experienced snow. You tasted it, you touched it, but a lot of people in this world didn't experience snow. So the word itself is not enough to transmit all the experience. If you go in the desert, where they never experienced snow, like in Sahara, and you explain to an 8-year-old child, I'm going to explain to you what is snow, and then you'll know. So snow is white cotton falling from the sky. And he already looks crazy. It's cold, but when it touches you, it becomes water. Man, burn the witch, eh? Actually, I said this once at a conference. There was a dude from that area. I said, we're not like that. That's a long time ago, burn the witch. So I got an experience. They're not all like that, and I felt ashamed for using an example that would actually insult someone in my crowd. So I swear I would never do it again, but here I am. Anyone from Sahara? No?
But I'm a witch.
Awesome.
Ah, shit.
Say you won't.
Until I have an experience, I can't trust you. Or maybe I should. In any case. So you get the feeling of whatever I can say today doesn't really matter. What matters is what you will gain out of it. Do you understand? So I never go with my credibility. I could do some name dropping. I've done this, I've done that. That doesn't really count, because what matters is what you'll get out of it. Okay. So sometimes, like I say, you can decide to be extremely objective and laid back and not participate and just listen to the words. You can do that because it's your right. But I'm suggesting, if you want to try something new that won't kill you, sometimes I'm just going to say, breathe. And then you take a breath. Okay? So please, now, breathe. It's as crazy as that. Simply because sometimes I feel that your abdominals will contract because I'm going to tell stuff that is not usually comfortable. I'm going to talk about the issues you have at your work. And sometimes it's not going to be comfortable, it's not going to be fun. But then again, you spend your whole life with this uncomfortable feeling because it's your work, to be exposed to a certain level of aggression or negativity always. And we're going to try to just give you a philosophical view, just a worded version of how you could think differently about your job. And mostly, how you could think differently about yourself. An important aspect of your job is to be exposed either as a cop or a family member of someone who's a cop, is that you're exposed to negativity. Okay, that's the main issue. Your bosses are negative with you because their bosses are negative with them. And whatever you do best. Let's say you invest some fees into some kind of operation, and then you finally arrest someone, you do your job, you bring more happiness to people because there's one less criminal on the road wreaking havoc, and we start to question, why did you do it that way? That cost us money. You know, and you get challenged. That's an example. Not always, but once in a while, you would be challenged about how you did your job, as opposed to you just did it, and there's no gratification coming from it. Do you understand what I mean? Okay? So the lack of gratification because your bosses or the people supervising you, their job is not to babysit you. Their job is not to gratify you. They're told to gratify you, but that's not their job. They do their best. And their job is to save as much money as possible because this is what they've been told by their boss who see the budget. You understand the wheel? So eventually it just falls down to the guys trying to do their best, and you're just exposed to negativity. That's just one aspect. Then you're on the road, and every car that goes by and sees you, fucking come. Fucking, oh fuck, not enough fucking come. And it's always like that, you know? And you get this impression inside yourself that you're not a good person for them. Although when you first decided to become a cop, it was to save their asses. You know, it was to bring something good to society. So your purpose is not validated by the people that you're supposed to help. Because they don't understand. It's not their job to understand. It's not their job to be afraid of you. They just are. Okay, we're going to talk about that. So you're exposed to negativity just on the road. Just when you walk. I'm going to get a fucking ticket. Oh no. This time I go like that. Some people don't care, but some do. And you feel this shit over time. For example, if someone is extremely depressed and he walks into the room where you are, you'll feel it. We feel what other people feel if it's very intense. Someone is extremely happy, bursting with joy because something great just happened to them. They walk in a room and you see that they're happy, but you just don't see it. Wow, you're so happy, and you feel their joy a bit. You understand that? When we go into a place, we are affected by the emotional charge that is in majority in that place. And if we have an emotional charge like that, we affect others also, because that's the way it works. We have feelings and intuition as human beings. So all these cars running by, even if you don't talk, they feel it, they think it, and over the years, you're affected by that. Okay, you understand this? So this is not traditional psychology, because it talks about something, you know, unscientific. Now it's scientific. Now it's been demonstrated by quantum physics, but before that it was not scientific. It was just like mumbo-jumbo magic or mysticism or fairy tale shit, you know. So it made no sense. But if we go objective, we do feel at one point what other people feel when it's very explosive, when it's very intensely charged. So you're affected by that, by the environment, by the people you put in jail. You just walk into jail, they see you, they look at you, and they're stuck because they don't want to be responsible for what they've done. So they project on you. So basically, a cop is a constant target of negativity. And then you go home, and your family doesn't understand that. Your family, it's not their job to understand you as a cop. It's their job to try to survive like any other human. So then you got this negativity pour on you. You're like this, you're like that, you're not there enough, and you know they don't understand your shifts. You know, a few hundred years ago, absolutely every male of every family went away, either to war or in the north to cut woods, or it was a way of living. You go down 30,000 years ago, males were one day on four. It was like that. They came out, we ate, and then boom, went to hunt, and it could take up to 3-4 days. And that's why we have frontal bellies. It's to be able to survive 3 days without food if we don't get a prey. Okay, so we went to hunt and we come back, and it's genetically in our bones, in our flesh. It's in our cells and in our DNA that we're built in a certain way. But our society today does not work like that. Okay, our society today is, it would be great if everyone worked from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and then enjoy ourselves so everyone gets some quality time together. But it doesn't really work that way. We still have to deal with the reality that we're a part of a world that requires us to exist 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, if creation happened because of God or the Buddha or the Big Bang, regardless of your background, when creation happened, it did not happen 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. It happened like it happened, okay? So we're just here. So the entire social structure is not well adapted to the fact that we exist constantly, and if we exist constantly, then there's constantly people in need of security or authority, which is what you do as cop. Bring security to some, authority to others. Okay? So there's no way for you to function in a society. People around you don't understand that because they are conformed to a society, to a social system, and then when you're bitched again, you're the target of some more bitching, some more aggression. Okay? So if we consider every aspect of the job of a cop, it's constant exposure to bitching and challenges. Okay? Please breathe. Because that's a breath of fresh air once in a while. Shit, I'm like, oh, I'm going to die after all this speech. So we just try to elevate. The thing is, there are gratifying things about your job, but you're the only one to give it to yourself. Okay? And if you stop doing that, you're going to just go down the road. You're going to have a constant state of semi-depression, wonder why you do it, and once in a while, you know, it's rare but it happens, a cop will go corrupt because they don't give a shit anymore. Why should I save the people who treat me like shit? Okay? And then a cop is offered a sexual favor from some girl to avoid some kind of punishment by law. And the guy has been bitched for the last 10 years by his bosses, his fellow workers. Not the fellow workers, you're really cool about yourself. Let's say the family, the society, and you don't see the point in not just enjoying yourself half an hour. So you see all these things. I'm not saying you should do it. I'm saying it happens, okay? So my speech is a speech of compassion. It's a speech of, these are the facts. You have to just look at them. Then we can try to understand better how it happens and maybe deal with that better to have a higher moral standard. But when the moral standard makes no sense anymore, you have to throw it away. And the moral standard of trying to save people's lives when they just want to hurt you back. You know, you can save someone's life and the next day he doesn't know, but he's running on the street, he sees you, fucking cop. You didn't get the link, you know? But you guys, you do cool stuff to people who hate you back. Okay? So that's difficult to handle over a year, okay? Let's start. You understand so far? Am I on it? Am I completely off track, or is it good? When you were a child, coffee break. And everyone goes, oh yeah, that's a good idea, man. So, when you were a child, at one point you were ignorant of the threats in nature. I mean, 30,000 years ago, there could have been a saber-toothed lion, you had to run, so your parents were very hard on us. But now you have cars running in the street and stuff like that. Or when we're children, we do something that we call stupid things, but it's not stupid, we just didn't get the experience. Like, before we ride a bike, we don't understand the importance to stay in balance. Before we actually do something stupid, we don't know it's stupid. like teenagers, okay? We always say teenagers revolt. Teenagers are against the parents and against the rules. So you've been a teenager, you revolted more or less. You have teenagers, some of you, and they revolt more or less, but a teenager does not revolt. A teenager just wants to find out the next thing about life. So there's no revolution, there's no anarchy in a teenager, and except if the violence was packed into them, they have to throw it back out. They become anarchists, and they do vandalism and stuff like that. But most teenagers, they're not doing something stupid. They're doing the next thing to discover, because they just don't know. They just want to experiment life. So you've been like this, and your teenagers are like that. So the concept that we think that people revolt against society, in fact, we just want to find out the next new thing. We just don't know until we've experienced it. You have that operation going?
Yeah, they got them up. We're good.
Okay, so no SWAT operation. All right, so I can keep talking and not see half of my crowd go away in some kind of cool but anti-conference operation. It's okay. I mean, you were ready to do your job. That's very good. So, how much did you handle authority when you were a child? Okay. If you understand that when you were scolded first by incompetent parents that just didn't know how to do better, that's for sure, because if you have been parents, if you have children of your own, you know that sometimes you just don't know what's best, and then sometimes you regret what you've done as a punishment. Sometimes you're sure it was for the best interest of the child, but there's no rule. You know, we live life with no manual. And once, it's like a game that you play an entire game, and at the end when you win the manual. So it's fucking useless because that game is over. Just throw it in the fire and eat it, do whatever you want with it, but it's not useful. Don't even read it. It's stupid, you just got it through the game. So we just don't know how to handle life. So we are incompetent humans. There's not a human being competent enough to be a good human being. We discovered this with time, okay? So when you were punished, I'll take an example with how at one point I punished my child, and it seemed to be very violent. It was a series of 4 or 5 intense slaps on his left hand. He had just crossed the street without watching. He was like 2.5 or 3, and there could have been a car, and he did it a few times, and that time I need to impose a pain. The deal is, a 2-year-old child does not have the philosophical development in his brain required to understand a car could run over. It doesn't. It's impossible for him to understand the words that the adult has. So I imposed a pain on him that he would associate to crossing the street. Don't ever cross the street again. That's it. So that in his body, the experience is cross the street, pain. I don't do it. So it looked like a violent act. The goal was to avoid him getting killed. Okay? So as a parent, sometimes we have these choices to do, but what does my child remember? My child only has experience of the intense pain on the hand without the understanding of the purpose of it. And he grew one more step in disfavor of authority, or challenged by authority. Okay? Sometimes this violence, this physical violence we do to children is way overbound. It's not necessary. All we need is to make sure they stay alive. And I've hurt my children physically 2 or 3 times, very rarely, because I saw that they were going to kill themselves if I didn't impose some kind of intense experience. And it was not beating the crap out of them, it was just imposing a pain here where there was causing no damage. But some people just don't know better. They just hit wherever the hand lands. Okay? It's like that. Okay? The way we are raised, we grow challenges towards authority. Do you understand this? Okay, that's logical. Now, then as a cop, you become the authority. And when children, after teenagers, get out of home and start their own life, whatever they projected on their parents as the authority, they now project on society. And you cops are parents. This is what you are to society. You are new parents. And people react to you the way they reacted toward their parents. Okay? So they don't understand why you would give them a ticket. It's that because if you keep speeding, you're going to kill people or die yourself. Do you understand this? you do the same way as parents, impose some kind of punishment, some kind of suffering, which is a ticket, that's an example, for speeding, so that they would slow down or say, each time I speed, I have this suffering of losing money. So you can blame the other, but it still works. It does reduce the speed of people. If there were no cops enforcing the speed limit, everyone would just die very quickly, because a lot of teenagers would be stupid. Teenagers usually get their first car. They don't respect the speed limit because it's dangerous to speed. They respect the speed limit because they're afraid of the punishment. Okay? They don't understand. They don't have the philosophical development until we get in our early 20s. They're still part of our moral and philosophical development that is not accomplished for us to understand the causality behind our action, that we're responsible for everything we do. Okay? That comes with time. So when we first get a car, we are just afraid of the consequence. We said, we're going to give you a ticket and maybe eventually remove your permit if you act like this that way. So children who don't respect their own parents' authority will not respect cops' authority and still do stupid crap. Reason for which you are required to go and arrest them and get them out of that bar where they're wreaking havoc and put them in jail and do stuff like that. So as cops, you're parents. And it's probably a way you did not see yourself before. As cops, you are meant to bring a certain level of punishment to a society that does not understand your function, because they still don't have the morality to act correctly on their own accord, with their own choice. Do you understand this? Please take a breath. Simply to talk about these things and to look at yourself in your role in a different way will make it easier for you to accept your role and understand gratification will not come from others. The gratification will never come from population, that's for sure. Whenever I'm an ordained priest, so I have a spiritual way of handling things. I'm never going to bug you with spirituality. Some people don't want to hear about Buddhism. Why should I piss you off with my crap? When you're all about Jesus, and that's wonderful. When I speak to Christians, I speak of Jesus. I don't speak of Buddha. Okay, that's stupid, because there's a question of respecting who you are. And I speak of cops. I completely wipe out spirituality of my speech. But for this little next 30 seconds, when I see a cop, I say, bless you, thank you for your work. And I feel gratitude. Okay? Because I also benefited from, in my life, of the good services of police officers and ambulance. For me, whoever takes care of society is one big pool of our parents, okay, our new parents in society. So my child was about to die, and ambulance, I called 911, ambulance came, and cops made sure we could go faster. So all of this was pretty cool. For me, cops is a good thing. There's another time that someone was breaking into my house, and my girlfriend at the time, she was in the house, she was sleeping. They thought the house was empty, but she was sleeping. She called 911. So hearing that, the thief just ran off. Okay? So it saved my property or my girlfriend's health, okay, or survival. So I'm grateful for cops. Okay? So at another point, I saw something was wrong. I could call the cops, say that is wrong, and I saw the cops intervene and arrest someone that was drunk on the road, threatening everyone else's life. The car was going like this, you got arrested. So you see, each time I saw you guys do something good, I could understand. But a lot of people don't want to see this. They only see the parent, they can only see cops and the government and fire workers and ambulance and whoever emergency service. They can only see them as they saw their parents. Okay? Someone who punishes, someone who imposes limits and threats, someone who called them revolting, and they're not revolting, they just want to be free. They have suffering of their own. You know, children have suffering of their own. The people who do stupid stuff that you have to arrest, they have suffering of their own. You know, you see it in their face. Some of them are not completely there. They have challenges of their own. So, as parents, you need to guide these people, even though you don't really have the tools to do so. You have at least the justice part of imposing a punishment if they do something wrong. And sometimes you get the gratification from someone you just saved their butt. You know, if you do an arrest, if you arrest someone and this person you arrest was causing suffering to the others, sometimes the others will give you that gratitude, that gratification, thank you. It doesn't last long, but for a while it's there, okay? So you have to handle all of this in a global perspective, to see things in a wider way and understand and at least accept gratification will not come from the others. So you have to do it with yourself. When we start working in the police or the military or any service that has to do with imposing suffering on others to guide them, we have a mission, we have a purpose, we know what we're doing, we're proud, we're filled with satisfaction and gratification. And then it starts to fade away because we're expecting the society and the environment to gratify us. And then when it comes to your own bosses, who of course they're happy with your job, but their job is not to tell you and then make you feel good. They're not going to come and wipe your ass and change your diaper. It's not the way it works. They have to tell you that you could have done it by spending less resource, okay? For example. Or that you missed a part of the code, or you didn't go legal, and then you do something good. We're going to put you in court to testify about what you did, and the job of the people there is to try to discredit you. So they attack you. They don't want to have your objective story. They want to make sure that it's the objective story, so they challenge you and they bitch you. So whatever you do good will be questioned and treated like if it wasn't. Okay? Over time, it's hard on the nerves. It comes to you. And that packs up that negativity. Then you want to have your own way out. If you just understand what I've just said, it's going to make your handling of the people a bit better. It's hard to expect others to gratify you, okay? So how can we do this? If, for a while, now this is a trick. Do we have cops here? Only cops, or do we have family of cops? All right. Well, family of cops are going to hate this. Because I'm pro-cop, so you have to deal with that. You're going to like it. You're going to grow from it. Okay. Okay, you have a sense of duty. Okay? And you become a cop. I don't think no one becomes a cop because I don't know what to do in life, you know. Am I going to become a florist? Janitor? Oh, but what about cop? You know, get prestige, have a badge, gun. No, it's never like that. I don't know a single cop who went for cop for the outer prestige, okay? Some of them like to brag about the badge and the gun for maybe 2 weeks when they get it, of course. Because it's fun to be finally accepted as a cop, but the motivation to become a cop is always sense of duty, sense of what you're going to bring good, okay? And this sense of duty is attacked by people who tell you that you are a bad person. They don't say it directly like that, but that's what they're saying. You do something good, boss challenges the resource spent, not often, but it will happen. Did it happen to you at least once? Never? Oh, sorry, I'm completely off with that argument. Okay. Because I went to, well, it depends where. I went somewhere else where they were constantly pinning down people who did their jobs about how they'd done it, as it was not the best way to do it. Now, they get the results. Were you ever challenged about the way you did your job, even if you got good results? Did you have this?
Yeah. We call
All right.
it micromanaging.
What?
We call it micromanaging.
Okay, well, you get the results done with no collateral damage, or basically almost no collateral damage, and you're still challenged with the method. Okay, for you it's not the spending of resources, it's the method. Good. My argument still stands. Yeah. Okay. Or else my speech just go down the drain. No, that's not true. So, the people around you, you know, a lot of the population appreciate the work. But those who don't appreciate your work, they don't hesitate to tell it. You have to say it, to expose it. Fucking cop! You know, it's just, you get insults, you get the gaze, you know. And do you get the gaze? Yeah? Alright. So, and you get the projection of this. So your sense of duty is going lower and lower and lower, and it's being destroyed. Okay? Because your sense of duty is something that you had one breath. Sense of duty, I'm doing something. You go through the hard training, you're physically and emotionally challenged in the training to harden you, to make you a bit harder, to face that kind of job. You're given skills, you find yourself better and better while you're at the academy. Because you start to do stuff that you didn't know before. You develop skills, you find it cool, you're good at something, you specialize in certain areas. So you have this gratification building up. Okay? And then it's being destroyed by the negativity, and it starts to attack your sense of duty and your morale. And no one will nourish this. Okay? So the solution is you have to bypass this and go into self-gratification. Should work. So self-gratification bypasses the negativity to give you back a sense of duty and a higher morale. If no one will be grateful, or very few grateful people would express it, you have to be grateful for yourself. Okay? And that's something that is weird, that is unusual, but start by saying thank you for that day. Okay? That's a trick. Thank you, Ron, for that day of work. Thank you, Maha, for that great day of work. Okay? And you know, I even go like that. It's my own, I physically do it. Because after a while, you know, first I was ashamed. Okay, I'm going to do what my teacher told me. Thank you, Maha. Now I feel fucking stupid. No one's watching, I still feel stupid. What is shit? You know, what's going on? So, and eventually sometimes I just go like that. And I see a cop and I'm in my car, I'm like, yes, bless you. That's wonderful. Okay, and that's my attitude. I don't have any shame about expressing it now. I'm happy with myself. Now, I look like a fucking pompous ass. I look arrogant and even annoying if people see me, because I'm so happy of what I do that some people who are not happy with what they do, it aggresses them, because I'm like, oh, I do a good job. I'm happy with my job and I feel very good about it. And you know, I thank myself. I'm happy that I've done this because I know I'm bringing some good to people. But I tend to do this alone. You know, imagine if I did this in public, there was just, he's like, so fucking pretentious. Well, that's why you do it alone, okay? I did it in front of people at one point, and this guy came to me, hey, you know, if you're good, shut up, and people will tell you, okay? If you're good, people will tell you eventually, just shut up. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't want to say that. So I go alone, and I tell to myself, and this is one thing you should do, self-gratification. I'm not saying hide in a shed and masturbate. That's self-gratification too, but in another sense. What you have to do is make sure that you become the source of your own happiness about what you do. At least to compensate every other time that people challenge what you're doing. You understand this? Okay, let's take a breath. Ah, feels good breathing. You okay with this? Alright? Does it help you?
It's good.
It was good. This guy's Homeland Security. And he decided to drive from where? Oregon? Just because, yeah, well, let's hear what that guy has to do. He's been studying with me for a few years now. What? 3, 4?
4.5, 5.
4.5, 5. Okay. Oh my God, it doesn't make us any younger, does it? So, we're not 20 anymore. I'm sure we'd like to be. So, the main point of the introduction to this speech is you are responsible of nourishing your own sense of duty and sense of gratitude for what you do. You're responsible for your own moral well-being because no one will ever do it for you, okay? Because we're like children. Everyone's like children. We're still hoping that the parents will do it for us. But Who is the parents for you? Is it your bosses? Is it the government? It's society in general, I guess. So you behave with the government the same way that people behave with you. You know, look at the government and you pay your income tax. Now, that's the humiliating part for you, okay? I'm going to bitch you now. So, I'm not going to insult you. I'm just going to state facts, and hopefully you'll say, yeah, I should stop doing that negative thing. So, because I do respect you a lot. So, when you pay your income taxes to the government, are you celebrating with gratitude? No, probably not. Fucking government, and you bitch. Well, that's the point. We think that the government is always misusing our money, because what we see is, I have that much money, it's away. But you have asphalt in the street. You have a police service that cares for you if you need it. I know the healthcare is not perfect, but you have one. The school system is not perfect, but you have one. There are many places in the world that it just kills their own people. So there's a lot of that money that is well invested. Okay? Let's talk about scandals. You have scandals every few years. $500 million just went up in smoke. Okay? In some guy's pocket in Switzerland or some kind of island where they hide money. Okay? And that's a big scandal. How much money is well spent? Every day, for every social worker, for everybody. Now that's the French to English translation. I'm French, that's why I speak English weird. Yeah, merci de comprendre. Thanks for understanding. That's what I meant. So, for everyone, it's not social worker. Is anyone at the service society paid by the government? Bureaucrats, policemen, firemen, and teachers, okay? So for everyone working for the system, society, who gets their paycheck for doing their job, you do your job every day, and you're paid by government, by taxes, by municipal or federal, or I don't know how it works, but you're paid by people who give their income tax, okay, to the government. So for everyone who is well paid every day, for everything that is built, for every new building that will be useful to operate society, schools, police centers, fire centers, and a lot of social services, billions and billions of dollars every day are well spent. So if every 4 years there is $500 million that disappears, it's an extremely insignificant amount of money that went into the scandals, compared to the completely huge, humongous amount of money well spent. Do you understand this? It's just that we have this attitude of seeing something in the news, scandal, our money is always misspent. $25,000 for a hammer, that's an abuse, you know? Yes, these things happen, but usually those who do the abuse can't do it for a long time because they get caught, okay? You can't hide $25,000 hammers for too long because there are systems in the government that make sure that if there's money not well spent, they will find it. So yes, there is some kind of scandal, but most of the money is well spent. So why do you hesitate paying your income taxes when it's all about giving you services? Well, I'm not expecting you to do what I do, okay, because this is really weird. But when I pay my income taxes, I say, thank you. Thank you, government, for whatever you'll do with that. I don't even vote so much. I'm not interested in politics, so I don't even have the right to bitch. So, well, sometimes I do vote when I feel it's going to make a difference, but if I feel it doesn't, I don't care. So sometimes I do. So I send a check to the government and I say, thank you. And I write it on the check, thank you. And I send it. Because I want to focus on what I'll get from it. I want to focus on everything I'll get out of this paying. And start to see my parents, my social parents are the government and the police. That's my parents. And when my parent is taking care of me, it's the hospital and the doctors, okay? So I want to look at my parents as people who care for me. So I decide to do it on my own. And I don't wait for people to do it, to bring me the sense of gratitude and gratification that I'm a good person and I've done well. So I decided to treat everyone that takes care of me like in a respectful way. Now this is difficult. Please take a breath. This is difficult because it is humiliating. Okay? Can you understand humiliation? You've been humiliated in your life at one point. It happened. So it is humiliating to admit that we are still like children hoping to be parented, because we are genetically made like this. Okay? This is in our genes. Okay? We want to become an adult that feel autonomous, but we are genetically made to hope for the society or the rest of the clan or the pack or pride, if it's lions or wolves, you know. We still have the genetic code of wanting to be cared for by the group. So we consider that the group is responsible for caring for us, and we're like children. We just say, "No, Ma, I want candy," and we drop on the floor and we cry in the shopping mall like crazy. But just now we're above 20 and we don't cry and shout, but we still do the same thing. Do you understand this? Do you understand why it's kind of humiliating to say, I'm going to look at myself and say, yeah, I'm still like that. Okay. For you to be able to bring up your own sense of gratitude for your own work requires that in your mind you understand the process and that you do it yourself, because we are built like that. It's not because you're a bad person, it's because every single human being is made like that. We are made to hope for others to love us. That's how we're made, okay? And to take care of ourselves and become fully autonomous is what we're supposed to do. It's gonna save our own ass, is to become our own parent. To become our own parent takes that humiliating feeling of breaking our own pride, okay? And we're going to talk about this in the next chapter. We call it the denial. I don't want to know. I don't want to see the truth. I don't want to understand myself. I just want to be cared for by others. We have a reflex inside that fights to be cared for others, and then others don't care for us, and hell breaks loose because we become angry. Do you agree that we are angry when people don't care for us? We get irritated. It happens. We're built like that. It's okay. Every human is like that. So we're going to take a small break because I'm going to have another cup of coffee. No, I'm going to finish this one. We're going to take 5. I know that sometimes we have physical needs like peeing, and we have mental needs like the need to assimilate what I just taught. Because the important point was this entire relationship of parent-children that we have in society, and we're like that. Everyone's like that. So we're going to take 5. Just take a break, breathe. Now if you want to leave running, it's time.